Gentlemen, the enemy is here. We advance at dawn. Jawohl. Reinforcements are positioned. Good. Flank them from the north. Understood. The enemy is advancing here and here. Our flank is exposed, sir. Then we reinforce it immediately.
The German High Command thought they had the Americans figured out. Predictable, cautious, slow to adapt, easy to counter. Then they encountered General George S. Patton. Within weeks, their intelligence reports were filled with words like impossible, unprecedented, and unglaublich, unbelievable. Patton violated every assumption German commanders had made about American military capability. He moved faster than their panzers. He attacked more aggressively than their SS divisions. He outmaneuvered commanders who'd been winning battles since 1939. Today we're counting down 15 things the German High Command never expected an American general to do, and how each one shattered their confidence and changed the war. Number 4 made Hitler personally order Patton's assassination. Let's begin. Number 15. Advance faster than German intelligence could track. German intelligence in 1944 was still formidable, but Patton's Third Army moved so fast that situation maps were obsolete before they could be distributed. German reconnaissance would identify Third Army positions, and by the time that information reached field commanders, Patton was 50 miles beyond those positions.
Gentlemen, the northern advance is key. What about the supply lines, sir? We secure them now. Execute at dawn.
General der Panzertruppe Heinrich von Luttwitz wrote in his after-action report, "We could not develop defensive strategies because we never knew where Patton actually was. Our intelligence was always 24-48 hours behind his actual positions. The German system was built on predictable Allied advance rates. British and American forces typically moved methodically, consolidating positions before advancing. Patton destroyed those assumptions. Third Army's average advance rate across France exceeded anything seen in modern warfare, including Germany's own blitzkrieg operations in 1940. German commanders found themselves reacting to an enemy who was already behind their lines before they knew he'd broken through their front. Number 14. Attack continuously without pausing to regroup. Wehrmacht doctrine emphasized alternating between offensive and defensive phases.
The latest reports confirm the beach defenses are lighter here. Yes, General, that supports the landing plan. Agreed, but we need to secure the flank.
Yes, sir.
Attack, consolidate, regroup, attack again. Every professional army operated this way because soldiers needed rest, equipment needed maintenance, and supplies needed replenishment. Patton ignored this completely. Third Army attacked constantly, day and night, without operational pauses. When one division showed fatigue, Patton rotated it to reserve and brought fresh units forward, but the advance never stopped. German commanders kept expecting Patton to halt and consolidate. They prepared defensive positions, assuming they'd have time to dig in, while Americans paused.
Gentlemen, the advance must proceed along this axis. Understood. What are the supply projections? They are on schedule.
But the pause never came. General Major Karl Wagener, who faced Third Army in France, later testified, "We would barely establish defensive positions before American tanks were already attacking them. We never had time to properly prepare. It was exhausting and demoralizing." Number 13. Operate effectively in terrible weather. German planning for the Ardennes offensive assumed winter weather would ground Allied air power and slow ground operations. They were half right. Air operations were reduced, but they were completely wrong about Patton. When ordered to relieve Bastogne, Third Army moved through the worst winter conditions in decades.
The southern flank is vulnerable. We must reinforce it. Agreed. Divert the reserves from the east. Jawohl. It will be done.
Blizzards that German commanders assumed made operations impossible barely slowed Patton at all. General der Panzertruppe Hasso von Manteuffel expressed shock in his interrogation. "We planned the offensive for winter precisely because we thought Americans could not operate in such conditions. We were trained for winter warfare from the Russian front. The Americans were not. Yet Patton moved 3 divisions through conditions we considered prohibitive. We had fundamentally misunderstood American capability." Number 12. Use armor more aggressively than German panzer commanders. This was perhaps the most shocking revelation for German professionals. They had pioneered armored warfare, perfected the panzer division, and dominated battlefields with their understanding of mobile operations. Then Patton used their own doctrine against them, and did it better. He employed armor as exploitation forces, attacking enemy rear areas, cutting supply lines, and creating chaos exactly as Guderian had theorized in the 1930s. But Patton took it further. German panzer tactics by 1944 had become cautious, preserving expensive tanks and experienced crews. Patton threw his armor forward recklessly, accepting casualties to maintain momentum. General Oberst Heinz Guderian himself acknowledged, Patton understood armored warfare as well as any German commander, perhaps better. He grasped that tanks must be used with audacity, not caution. By 1944, we had forgotten this lesson. Patton had learned it. Number 11. Coordinate combined arms better than the Wehrmacht. Early in the war, German combined arms coordination, infantry, armor, artillery, and air support working seamlessly, was superior to any Allied force. By 1944, that had reversed. Patton's Third Army executed combined arms operations with a precision that shocked German observers. Every attack involved perfectly timed artillery preparation, infantry clearing enemy anti-tank positions, armor exploiting breakthroughs, and fighter bombers providing close air support. Oberst Hans von Luck, an experienced panzer commander, wrote in his memoir, "The Americans attacked like a symphony orchestra, with every element perfectly coordinated. We had done this in 1940 and 1941, but by 1944, our coordination had deteriorated. Patton's forces executed combined operations better than we could manage." Number 10. Learn from mistakes, faster than Germans could exploit them. German tactical superiority early in the war came partly from experience. They'd been fighting since 1939. When Americans made mistakes, German commanders expected to exploit those errors repeatedly. But Patton's army learned with astonishing speed. A tactic that worked against Third Army once never worked again. They adapted, adjusted, and countered within days or even hours. General der Infantry Baptist Knies, commanding forces facing Patton in Lorraine, reported to his superiors, "The Americans are learning faster than we can develop new tactics. Techniques that succeeded last week fail this week. They study our methods and counter them immediately. This is not the inexperienced enemy we faced in North Africa." Number 9. Bypass strong defenses rather than attack them. German defensive doctrine assumed attackers would assault fortified positions directly. They built strong points expecting to inflict heavy casualties on attacking forces. Patton simply went around them. If a town was heavily defended, Third Army bypassed it, leaving follow-up forces to reduce it later while his armor continued advancing. This violated German tactical assumptions completely. They concentrated forces in strong points expecting Americans to fight for them. Instead, Patton ignored strong points and attacked weak points, creating breakthroughs where Germans were unprepared. General der Panzertruppe Hermann Balck wrote, "Patton refused to fight where we were strong. He found where we were weak and attacked there with overwhelming force. We spent resources defending positions he had no intention of attacking." Number 8. Turn an entire army 90 degrees in 48 hours. During the Battle of the Bulge, Patton disengaged 3 divisions from the Saar offensive, rotated them 90 degrees north, moved them over 100 miles through winter conditions, and launched a coordinated attack, all in 48 hours. German staff officers calculated it couldn't be done in less than 10 days. Field Marshal Walter Model's reaction was recorded. "If Patton has actually done this, then we are fighting an enemy whose operational capability exceeds our own. This should not be possible." When American forces broke through to Bastogne on schedule, Model reportedly said, "We are not fighting Americans anymore. We are fighting something else." Number 7. Maintain operational security while moving at high speed. German intelligence relied on tracking Allied radio traffic, reconnaissance, and agent reports. They expected that rapid American movements would create communication chaos they could exploit. Instead, Third Army maintained tight operational security even while advancing at unprecedented speeds. German commanders rarely knew Patton's actual objectives until he was already achieving them. This combination of speed and secrecy was something German commanders had never encountered. General der Infanterie Günther Blumentritt noted, "Patton achieved surprise repeatedly, even when we knew he was preparing operations. We could not determine his objectives or timing." Number 6. Cross the Rhine before Montgomery's elaborate operation. Montgomery planned Operation Plunder for weeks. Massive artillery, airborne drops, overwhelming force. Patton quietly crossed the Rhine at Oppenheim on March 22, 1945, before Montgomery's operation even launched. German defenders were caught completely unprepared. They had positioned forces to counter Montgomery's expected assault, not Patton's opportunistic crossing. General Lieutenant Wilhelm Ritter von Thoma later said, "We expected the Americans to announce their crossings with massive preparations. Patton simply crossed and informed everyone afterward. We had no response prepared for such audacity." Number 5. Continue attacking even when outnumbered. German doctrine assumed numerically inferior forces would defend or withdraw. Patton attacked regardless of the odds. During the Lorraine campaign, Third Army frequently assaulted German positions with inferior numbers, relying on speed, surprise, and aggression to overcome numerical disadvantages. German commanders found this psychologically destabilizing. They would have numerical superiority but still find themselves on the defensive because Patton attacked first and attacked aggressively. Number 4. Become the personal target of Hitler's obsession. By late 1944, Hitler personally feared Patton more than any other Allied commander. German intelligence reports emphasized Patton's movements over all other Allied forces. Hitler ordered multiple assassination attempts against Patton specifically. SS commando units were tasked with killing or capturing him. The Führer regularly asked, "Where is Patton?" during briefings. This fixation revealed how completely Patton had penetrated German strategic thinking. General Alfred Jodl wrote, "The Führer's obsession with Patton bordered on paranoia. He attributed almost supernatural capabilities to this one American general." Number 3. Employ psychological warfare as effectively as military operations. Patton understood that fear was a weapon. His theatrical appearance, ivory-handled revolvers, polished helmet, dramatic speeches, was psychological warfare. German soldiers feared Third Army more than other American units, not because they were objectively more dangerous, but because Patton had created a reputation for invincibility. Captured German soldiers repeatedly mentioned Patton by name, describing him in almost mythical terms. This psychological dominance was something German commanders hadn't encountered since their own early war victories. Number 2. Predict German operations before they happened. Patton's most uncanny ability was anticipating German moves. Before the Battle of the Bulge, he predicted the German offensive and prepared contingency plans. When it came, he was ready to respond within hours. German commanders were shocked that Patton seemed to know their intentions before they acted. Some suspected espionage, but the truth was simpler. Patton studied German doctrine and commanders so thoroughly he could predict their decisions. General von Manteuffel said, "It was as if Patton could read our minds. He positioned forces where we planned to attack before we attacked." Number 1. Earn the respect of the enemy. The ultimate shock for German high command was finding themselves respecting an American general. Years of propaganda had portrayed Americans as militarily incompetent, culturally inferior, and incapable of matching German professionalism. Patton destroyed those assumptions so completely that even the most ardent Nazis acknowledged his brilliance. In post-war interrogations, virtually every captured German general spoke of Patton with admiration bordering on awe. Field Marshal Gerd von Rundstedt called him the best general the Allies produced. Model considered him the only American commander who understood operational art at the German level. Guderian said Patton would have been successful in any army, any era. This respect was the final unexpected thing, that the master race ideology would crumble in the face of one man's obvious superiority. German soldiers, taught to view themselves as the world's finest warriors, found themselves outfought, outmaneuvered, and outthought by an American they'd been told was inferior. The psychological impact of this realization contributed to the collapse of German morale in the final months of the war. Call to action. If this deep dive into how Patton shattered every German assumption fascinated you, then you absolutely need to subscribe to this channel right now. We're bringing you the untold perspectives, the enemy reactions, and the shocking truths about how World War II was really won. Hit that notification bell so you never miss our next video. We've got incredible content coming about other commanders who shocked their enemies and changed history. Drop a comment telling us which aspect of Patton's tactics you found most surprising, or which other WWII general you want us to analyze from the enemy's perspective. Was it Rommel, Zhukov, Yamamoto? Your suggestions drive our content. And if you enjoyed seeing how one man destroyed the assumptions of an entire military establishment, smash that like button and share this with anyone who appreciates military history that goes beyond the textbook version. Thanks for watching, and remember, sometimes the most powerful weapon isn't firepower or numbers. It's the ability to do what your enemy thinks is impossible. See you next time.